Hello, people of the internet, and welcome to this video where I will be attempting to build a conglomerative German mess in automation. Basically, BMW, Audi, and Mercedes in one car. So, what vehicles do we have that are really appropriate? That seems more like a Honda S2000 than everything else, I think. Although, if we do have different variants, let's see. I've just realised there's a variant view, which always helps. Yeah, there's convertibles. I could try a Z4 style of thing, but let's not. There is a estate, which would be very Audi, but I'm not doing an Audi right now, I'm doing something else. So, yeah, we just have these two on those trims. What is the difference between those? They're 2007, so they're pretty old. Ah, it's kind of a window there. I think this is more a Porsche Cayenne. Oh well, seems like the right kind of body. Pretty sure a Porsche Cayenne isn't this short, but anyway, you get where I'm coming from. I don't think we need to go with any really fancy materials for the chassis. I think steel should do the job. Although, this is panel material, so we'll go with aluminium. And we'll go with a unitary steel chassis, as I said, whichever resists corrosion the best, really. So, that's worse, is it? Yes, it is worse. AHS steel doesn't really do anything. It's gonna be quite flimsy though if I don't use AHS. So should I go with a more expensive material? Is it really justified? I think it is personally. Now we're going to go with a front longitudinal engine here, and I would say kind of front wheel drive in front of the front wheels, but I'm not sure the game will work it out that way. I'll have to see. And because that's what Audi uses, we'll go with McPherson strut, pretty standard I believe among German cars today. And multi-link, again pretty standard among all the German vehicles. Not much really to change about that. Now these are the two body styles we have. I think this is very much a Porsche Cayenne. It looks strange with a very narrow skinny tyres, at least for the size of the vehicle, but that's the way it is. And it will look better with these windows added and the extra doors. It's a very strange window there. It's almost like a shooting brake, although it's an SUV. We're not building a shooting brake, not quite. Ooh, no, that red looked a lot more crystallic than it actually is. Let's say pretty pink. Nah. No, don't delete blue. Blue is what we're going with for now. Or, no, let's go with this red actually. How about that red? That red is a bit more crystally, but I don't like it personally, just for working with, so I'll work with this. And trim? Window trim, let's go with some fancy chrome window trim. Yeah, with the plastic right there. I don't know, it's a fairly mass-produced car, you can't expect everything. And the pillars, they can actually... Or we can expect everything. Does that look any better? I don't know. I quite like that personally. Kind of the separate pillars in red. It beats having them in black plastic, but it doesn't quite look as overkill as just chrome everywhere. We can have chrome bumpers, but they don't work on a modern car as much as I would like them. Older cars, they work incredibly well, but not on this type of vehicle, sadly. Can we go with a different primary body? Ah. Sadly, that doesn't quite look so good. Yeah, it looks a bit like a ricer, to be honest, when I do that. So let's not. And the lights. These, I think, look pretty good. I didn't see the car taking this form, I will admit, when the idea came to me to make a kind of conglomerative messy nation of vehicles, it didn't occur to me that it might look very, very weird. Yep, keep them at that angle, more or less flat with that kind of bumper line. Which, actually, now I mention it, can I adjust the bodywork? Ooh, we don't want that. We want to bring it back about as much as we realistically can. So maybe just bring that in. We can flare the arches slightly, which we want to do, make it slightly more sporty, but not loads more, not to a ridiculous level. It'll also stop it tipping over too much if I do that. And we can maybe bring the entire rear end back just a little. Like so. There we go. Maybe a little more. It's not ideal, but it will look good when it's done. Can we change any of this? Can move that? I think, to be honest, it's fairly well proportioned. It needs mirrors. I'm noticing that now because they don't add mirrors for you anymore, which is fair enough, you know. It beats actually having mirrors already on there because I get to choose which mirrors I have, so, you know, of all the options they could have gone with, this is probably the best of them. They look like quite large mirrors, but to me they work, so we'll use them and plop them somewhere in there. They don't quite fit, do they? Oh well, they're just kind of hand-me-downs from a higher-end car, as often happens in these kinds of companies, where you have a lot of companies under one parent company. They just share parts a lot. I think that works just about, having them in there like that. And wheels, we can change them. What are these sporty ones? They look quite good actually. Or so they will when it's bigger and wider wheels on this thing. We can grab the headlights, hopefully move them out just a touch. Maybe even move them around. There we go. I think they need to be bigger, to be honest. Not quite big enough. Trouble is, they just don't like growing. Like when I try and make these lights grow, they really complain. Can we lower them into place? I think that'll work. Kind of odd lights. A lot of vehicles these days though have oddly shaped, weird headlights that don't make much sense to me. Actually, can we flip them over? Would that help? To be honest, it might. It looks a bit sad at the moment, but I think it will come to its own reasonings. I don't know. These lights just don't work. I think that's it. I'm trying too hard to get lights that don't work to work. These are maybe quite an obvious decision, but if they work, I'm not complaining. Try and make sure they fit properly. Come on. There we go. I don't like the way it's looking, but it looks at least like a real car might, as opposed to like some weird sketch on a piece of paper might. Or yeah, if only they were slightly better proportioned though, those lights would work really well. I think we just need a badge. No, we don't have fuel going into a bonnet like that. That's a very odd way of doing it. Favourite cooling, they're my favourites apparently. Actually, could we add one of these? Yes. Sportiness. Sportiness has been added to this vehicle. Now, actually, I'm remembering the Golf R32 now, and that kind of had an interesting grille design. Let's use some of that. As I say, it is just various conglomerative German cars stuck together in different ways. Come on. Be larger. You shall. Shrink that around. There we go. And check. So, grille. What have we got here? Yes, aggressive. Very aggressive. Can we lower that? No, we can't. I don't know. Does it look okay? Probably not. But quite frankly, I'm spending far too long on the design. Now, where's the badge? Badge, where are you? Aerodynamics? Have we got aerodynamics? We could have a plastic bumper thing, but then this is supposed to be a premium car and it wouldn't really line up. Have we got wing? Yes, let's have a wing. Although we've already got a wing, we'll have this. Just hope it gets us some downforce. Come on. It suddenly lags with the wing. I don't know why. Don't know why this PC is being like this. It's been working fine up until this one point. And there we go. So the front, what can we do with the front? We can have a lip, like so. This looks to have some chrome on, so no, it hasn't got some chrome on. So I'm being stupid. And there we go. Aerodynamics, because this is obviously a sports car. We still need the badge. There we go. For some reason I lost it. Ooh, this looks interesting. Yes, this one. This is our prestigious German company. There we go. Neat. It's what a king would drive, only you wouldn't because he'd have a Rolls Royce. And not the conglomerative mess that this has become. Come on. There we go. And door handles. We need some door handles and a boot handle. So they should be here. Indeed they are. No, they're too retro. Think some of these. Probably the best ones we've got. Are they completely camouflaged or something? What? Okay. Very strange. They're invisible. Invisible door handles aren't much use because you don't know where they go to. So, they're not really an option. How about these? Please appear. Yes, these ones do appear. So that's that problem sorted. And I think this is quite a large car actually. Now I mention it. Hey, you can go down a bit. You don't quite look good up there. And stick some cheapo door handles on here. But they have chrome on, which makes me happy. Somewhat. There we go. I'll admit it ain't pretty, but it gets the job done. Now, we want a inline 6, I think, because that's what a BMW would use. We've made the exterior kind of Volkswagen Audi group, I feel. Especially in terms of suspension, and it's got a longitudinal engine like some Volkswagen Audi group vehicles do have, so that's something. I could make it transverse, but especially when I'm putting an inline 6 in here, is it going to work? I thought of having a Audi driveline, but now I mention it, BMW and Mercedes use rear-wheel drive, so I don't know. I can't make it rear engine, can I? Ridiculous as it sounds. It's going to have to be longitudinal to get rear-wheel drive. I know it's an SUV, it should be all-wheel drive, but the point of it is it's a conglomerative mess, so yeah, we're going to make it rear-wheel drive. I guess like the Rally Fighter is probably what this is closest to. No, we're not going to have a magnesium engine. I think we can have aluminium. Full aluminium engine in 2017 shouldn't be too unrealistic. And should we have a single overhead cam? Dual overhead cam is probably what we'll need to keep up with emissions regulations, but I feel single overhead cam. I'll let it have a fair fight. See if single overhead cam can bring the thigh up, because I feel when tuned properly I could get a good engine this way, although I don't know for certain. Yeah, thinking what kind of carburetor I should use. Different era completely. Cast iron internals to keep it as cheap as possible, although I may go with forged, should the need arise. Ooh, titanium. Fancy. I'm not sure we had that before, I think we did. And I've just not played in a while. And I've clicked on the floor and somehow gravitated towards it. And there's my car in the distance. Very interesting. It's slightly ugly, actually. It looks like a Chinese car. I will admit, by this stage, it looks like a Chinese whip-off of something, as opposed to something from a long-established market. And yeah, admittedly the rich in China won't drive them, just the poor people. But hey, that's what our European design studios are knocking out these days. Turbochargers, well, Germans seem to like them, okay? The Jaguar don't use them, but they're not a German company, so, you know, it kind of works out as you would expect. In this respect, I'm going to use the turbo. Can be a ball bearing, why not? And with a large intercooler, try and push as much air through as possible. I'm not sure what displacement I want. I think being a large car, but still rear-wheel drive, 3.5 turbocharged litres seems like a good option. I'm setting it up this way so it revs quite high if it needs to. There we go, the higher end of 3.5, but still, loads of space for this engine, thankfully. So, I think what I've got to do now, I've got to just finish off the basics. I will come back to the engine, but I don't know. Single point electronic injection. I think multi-point is standard today. How much is the price difference? Yeah. No, that's the power difference, not the price difference. It has a lot more engineering time. You know, it's a hard decision. Material costs a lot more for multi-point injection though, so if I can actually use single, how much is the material cost between these two? I think the material cost between single and dual overhead cam are actually a lot less than between single and multi-point injection. So if I'm compromising anywhere, it feels a fuel injection is a good place to do so, because that is a place where you can add money quickly, and single point injection is the cheapest option available. It should be mechanically simple, thus more reliable. I guess not the German way of doing things, mechanically simple, but it should do a good job in this particular case. I may go for a performance intake. I'm not too sure about that yet. If I need more power, so I will. We'll go with regular fuel. And exhaust, I don't know. We'll want a good catalytic converter to keep it quiet. And then we'll just go with 2 baffled mufflers, perhaps. It'll keep engineering time down somewhat. Or quite a bit, actually, keep it down. Weight will perhaps, yeah, go up, but it shouldn't be by too much. It's only exhaust bits we're talking now. And max power, 143.5, so it doesn't affect that. How it affects noise, I don't know, but yeah. 230 kilos. That's not too bad. How does it look in here? No, it's not showing the engine, okay? So, manual testing. Doesn't work. That's a start. And we're on kilowatts. I need to change that to horsepower because I don't like kilowatts. But for the time being, it'll work for getting us a functional engine. Let's hear it run. So you see here a very, very early stage of the engine, but we are very strong for torque actually, which is not bad at all. Admittedly there is turbo lag though, but still, I feel as underpowered as it may be now, once I get it to a working point, as a fairly efficient modern engine, it should go well. Bit of lag there, but we're all fine now. Yep, I would say it's restricted for length, but to be honest, that's not a huge problem. It still fits in the car just fine, as you'll see under there. And who am I kidding? I can actually take the bonnet off, or even the whole body, and just show the engine better. There's actually plenty of space. I think it's just the way the body kind of curves around it. It looks worse than it is. Can take the bonnet off as well. You'll see, even then, it just isn't tight fitting as you might expect. Kind of tight, but you know, there's enough space to fit this engine without having any major problems. And that's that. Very nice indeed. We'll go with a advanced automatic, I feel, with 8 gears. Seems like the modern kind of transmission that German cars would move towards these days. And we'll go with all this stuff. I don't know, 300. I don't understand these figures though. I'm used to the English figures. So I'll have to change all this later, and then when I'm fine-tuning, I'll actually understand what I'm doing. Now, electric limited slip differential? No, we're not that fancy. I think with this car being more premium, we could probably go with a geared differential. Plus we might be pushing 300 plus horsepower through the wheels when we're done. And yeah, nothing else would really do. The Vicious, which I think is cheaper and easier to engineer, actually quite a bit cheaper, but it won't be as good around corners. I'll have to see. If the power gets really high, I will switch Vicious to geared. But otherwise, I'll just keep Vicious because it's a good place to save money. Medium compound tyres should do the job. Or maybe I won't even need medium compound because they are going to be quite wide at that. 255s fit easily on here. There we go. Expand those out. Like, bring the front out. And then bring the rear out. Like so. And there we go. The headlights don't like that at all. Go with some alloys on the wheel front. 255 tyres. They are not bad. Although it is rear wheel drive. I should have remembered that, honestly. I think we'll have to either throw crazy amounts of power through it, or just, I don't know, put narrower tyres on the front as well. 295 rear. I didn't expect it to go this way, but you know, we can actually have wider rear tyres to somewhat compensate for the rear wheel drive and those tyres being under pressure more than the fronts. This shouldn't handle too badly. At least not as badly as you would expect for a rear wheel drive only SUV. Vented discs will be the brakes on the front, 2-piston. Seems relevant for such a heavy vehicle that we have at least half decent brakes. 295s. How big are the wheels? The wheels themselves are only 17s. 19s begin to get a bit ridiculous, I feel. 18 inches though, they seem okay. So, those brakes look small, but believe me, they're not too bad. If I go with 305mm, they should do the job. And then we can just have solid disc, 1 pistons on the rear. They won't actually be that much smaller. They'll be 265, let's say. But they are single piston solid disc brakes, so it won't be as good as what's on the front. And we'll go with a fully clad under tray, keep it as aerodynamic as possible, perhaps, unless the material costs are like drastically different. Off-road skid tray is expensive. I think actually, yeah, the weight is low on semi-clad. Engineering time is a lot lower. I think I'll go with semi-clad then. So be it. And we'll go with no active stuff. Brake airflow, we do want some. So, required cooling is 164, and it has 164. Basically, that's however it goes. So, we should be able to add about 3 to the brakes. The vented discs, so it should at least be vented, which will help. Do we want 7 seats? Really? I don't know. I don't think so. We don't want to turn this into an MPV. It's a sports car, okay? We can go with a basic interior. But who wants a basic interior? It's going to be premium. That's pretty much where it is with German cars right now. Unless you buy a Volkswagen or something, then it might be standard. But premium is, I think, where it is. Basically, over there. And we'll want some premium infotainment. Power steering. I don't think we'll need something too fancy here. I think we'll need maybe hydraulic. I don't know. Variable hydraulic, perhaps. I don't think we need to go with anything electric, though. Unless the cost to performance is significantly better. So variable hydraulic versus electric. Engineering time is lower, but sportiness is lower too. That appears the same. I don't know. If it is actually genuinely better, I guess I'll go with electric variable then. Yep. All of the assists, as you would expect, and all the safety from a German car. I mean, this is an old platform by this point, but hey, we push as far as we can go with this. I also need to add some taillights. I forgot that earlier. I'll do it a bit later. Maybe add a sunroof as well, if they do exist in this version of the game. We don't want active comfort, that's a bit crazy. We'll go with some progressive springs and monotube dampers. And I feel semi-active sway bars. It is, after all, a higher end vehicle than a lot of vehicles, but it's not wildly high end. We could go with comfort. Do we want to go with comfort? I would say Mercedes is probably more comfort unless you buy a sports car, which is what this is. Pretty much any modern German car, though, if it's a performance variant, will go for sport suspension. Again, it depends on how much power it makes. So if it's over 400, then it's definitely going to become a sport suspension cell. If it only can make 250 horsepower, it'll just stay on comfort. It really depends just how it ends up. But anyway, it already does 0 to 60 in 7.26 seconds. Not so bad. How heavy is it, I wonder? 1701 kilograms. Well, that'll be why then. For an SUV, you know, I think that holds together relatively well. 1701 kilos. That's actually pretty light as far as these things go. It might be very expensive, though. No, actually, 23,000 and I can still make 20% profit. That's not too bad. If I lower the profit margin, though, I get really good in some markets like Family Sport Premium. Maybe even improving the performance of the engine would improve in that market to very close to 100%, which is definitely not bad at all. Anyway, I do need to finish now to make the final changes, and then I will return. Okay, so here we are at the track, and quite a bit has changed actually, but on the left you will see we've got a 2:16.42 time, which is actually quite impressive. It's just below the Speedy Me Bob RS, which was a track special, but then this, as you will see very shortly, has become a track special. Weight balance has also improved, 56.4 front, I think that is. It was worse than that before. And the 4-eyed Tim, which was probably one of the quickest front-wheel drives I made, is just below it. It's also beaten the standard Speedy Me Bob and the Wet Dream Me Bob and the Prison Van for Kids, which was a sporty MPV thingy me bob, and the Glued Banana weird pickup truck thingy. So the Speedy Me Bob, not the Speedy Me Bob, the Wet Dream Me Bob was where I was originally trying to beat, because I saw that was quick and it took power enhancements, pretty much every kind of enhancement you can imagine, to get it to that level, although it was always setting 221.25s at best, which just isn't, it's just 0.01 seconds off matching it, and that is not good enough for me. So, as I'll go through now, it's 15.5 miles per gallon. It's pretty terrible, but it's basically supercar performance, so it's forgivable in that respect. You'll see I've changed to hydraulic power steering, variable hydraulic even, instead of electronic variable. The assists and stuff are a lot of the same, but I've gone with +1 quality to make it more like a Mercedes, as it is. And they have nicer interiors than certain other cars. So, that's also changed. It's luxury, because seeing the way it was going, I decided it was better to make it a huge luxury sport boat, if that makes sense, than anything else. So these tyres are beefy. I think they're 285s. I'll just get onto it actually, it'll tell me. Yeah, 285s, that's correct. Carbon fibre wheels, because trying to eke that best track performance out of it, it is hideous. I will admit that now. It looks slightly less hideous than from the front. It is still hideous though. And those tyres cannot be good for ride comfort, but I have fitted hydropneumatic suspension. Again, need to go back to here. That does slow it down in my testing. Every time it slowed it down, but I decided, hey, you know what? It's going to work because I say so. I may even be able to get a bit more speed out of it. This is just kind of cobbled together on trailing arm, rear suspension and double wishbone front, which did help a lot actually. The double wishbone instead of the McPherson strut, that helped a huge amount. But hey, with trailing arm, I can at least say it's kind of related to a BMW of old, so that's something. Even though it's not got the driveline of a BMW. And the Audi is kind of in the looks and the all-wheel driviness of it. For Mercedes, as I've said, is in the interior and the suspension. Hence why I like hydropneumatic. It's good for comfort, very good for comfort. It's a 7-seater as well. I decided to go along with that. It wasn't going to be light anyway by the time I added the luxury bits. So yeah, we end up with a resulting 2.1 ton vehicle. However, that's not that far off the actual Cayenne. So, you know, I'm not doing too bad considering it's a 7-seater with a luxury interior. The brakes are carbon ceramic front and rear to get the most out of it. Wheels are carbon fibre. They are got a pricey wheels bit. Somehow makes sense. They're going to be pricey to put on here, but all in the name of outright speed from the most stupid vehicle imaginable. But hey, it's not too weird for Germans to actually build high-performance SUVs, so I can at least claim that. You can see the engine in there. The engine, you may notice, is ever so slightly larger. I'll get onto that in a moment. After the fact that it is all-wheel drive, and I have chosen a front 40% power and rear 60% power distribution. So that's always something. Yes, the engine has gone under some quite significant changes. The size of it hasn't changed that much. I've mainly changed the dimensions as opposed to the actual size of it. It got a little bigger, but not by that much. Only 100, less than 100 cc's even in this case. I'd say it's about 56, I think, cc's larger, so not much at all. And, as I catch my breath, it's about 21 kilograms lighter than before the engine, which is actually probably the most impressive feat of all. And as I show you, I kind of got a bit locked out. Yeah. Come on, can we zoom in on somewhere? Where are we? We're in the office. Yeah, I have no idea where I've transported to. I think the engine is somewhere through there. Can we click somewhere there? Oh, I had something. Yes! I found it! I found the engine! Yay, we can celebrate. Like, I've been stuck out a door in that corner over there, just somehow. I don't know. That is our carbon fibre performance intake, by the way, which I'll get onto. Now, it's got quite a large exhaust, you can tell. It's always been large, so it always will be large. I don't think it's changed since last time. So that's the one thing that hasn't changed. The rev limit has changed, as have the internals of the engine. Now, I've designed the engine just enough, I've engineered it just enough so it doesn't blow up, and I've only just noticed now that 9200 RPM is actually an extremely high revving engine. That is largely attributed to the forged internals and the 5-valve per cylinder layout, which, come on, 5-valve per cylinder layout, and we have all forged internals here, lightweight forged where possible, as that's generally the best around. Forged here, I believe it lowers the rev limit, yeah. Lightweight forged just revs that bit higher. So it helps, kind of. Conrod is the lowest point in the engine, the weakest point, and I'm happy for that because it's still pretty strong. Now, torque is not an issue. What did I do there? Torque. Torque is not an issue at all because it's presumably just a power-orientated VTEC rip-off. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't have VTEC, it has a lot of turbo lag. And then we have a weird hump here for V-torque. It's there for the power as well, but far less noticeable, because I've done my best to smoothen it out, as you'll see with these settings. And that one isn't really showing it. I did before try and smoothen out. This I might have just given up and gone like max power. It makes 534 horsepower though, I think it's saying there. Come on, yeah, makes it very high. It just, I thought that was sticking to this side, but it wasn't. It just goes very high to make the power. Variable valve timing and everything you expect. I have gone with direct injection as well. And bigger turbos, bigger compressor mainly, is the difference. Look at that. Huge compressor and a tiny turbine. But hey, it makes the power. Who am I to complain? I've pushed an engine. It reminds me of the Nissan GTR R34 Type C. That was quite an interesting car actually. I had that on a game. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a fun chuckable thing to drive around, and I really like that. But it reminds me of that, as in the RB26 in it is highly tunable, and in that case it made 500-ish horsepower. This makes a bit more, but it's a bigger engine, and they're both inline sixes, so it reminds me a lot of that, which it shouldn't, because it's supposed to be a BMW type of engine, but that's what it reminds me of most of all. And it's definitely a positive thing. Shame it's in an SUV. I mean, I might do for my next video, or one of my next videos, actually putting this engine in something designed for performance that's not an SUV, because that would actually make for quite a good track car. It's a very good engine I've got here, I think. Quite light, as in only 200 kilograms, yet it also makes over 500 horsepower, a combination that's pretty hard to get, I would say, in many engines. For comparison, some of the most basic 4-cylinders you can build only weigh half of this, but you'd struggle to get half the power out of one of those engines anyway, so for power to weight, it's a very, very efficient engine. Now, this is what I was meaning to get onto, the turbo lag. 3,500 RPM, around about the power comes in. I wasn't focusing on that, I was focusing on raw power, but I don't know if I was tuning wrong or something. That's just how it ended up. Not too bad though, because I normally saw like you were in the higher end. That's like giving people seizures probably. Sorry. But that I was all in the higher end when it was going around the track, so that shouldn't be much issue, just low down. It's only 0 to 60, and even then it does that in 4.2 seconds. So I managed to get that good enough. Yeah, it was just brutal power really to get to 0 to 60 in anything reasonable. I'd like it to get it to 60 quicker, but if there's no solution to that, there isn't, and there's nothing I can do about it. Anyway, moving on. As I said, the engine is very efficient for weight. I've changed the design slightly. You've probably seen the changes I've made. Tail lights, exhausts, move the headlights a bit because they kept not working properly. Very, very minor changes around that kind of area. But this is on comfort suspension because I want it to be a kind of luxury Grand Tourer as much as anything. That is also extremely, extremely quick, and that is what I believe I've achieved. I tried glued aluminium here, but it actually hurt performance when I tried it, so I won't be using that in the long run. I'm reasonably happy with what I've got here, and ooh, top speed is 185. I was seeing like 165 before. I have to check that for myself. And indeed it is. It's showing 184.6, which rounds up to 185. So that is very good, actually. All the power, I don't know. It seems like the final power boost did a lot more, because I went from 480 to 530 something horsepower, but it acts like it's a lot more in the way it increased performance. So that's strange, but not something I'm particularly hurted by. Yeah, hurted is a word now because I say so. I think it's because all the luxury stuff kind of contradicted my power increase. The original engine was 350, but then I got sidetracked and I wanted to make something even more crazy powerful, and I ended up trying to build something that this car should not have been, and now it's something that it should not have been. But hey, it's not the worst accident in the world. if you can even call it an accident. I've put a lot of effort into it, so, calling it an accident is slightly hurtful to myself. But, it wasn't in itself an accident of a car that shouldn't have happened, but it's a good accident. Are these actually KN headlights? I don't think they are, but they look vaguely like KN headlights. Probably why I chose them ultimately. And 0 to 60 has changed to 5.5. I don't know. This is being very confusing with me. It was at 4.2, believe me, at one point. Maybe I've done something, but I still set a time, and I'm keeping that time, okay? Anyway, I think I'm happy to leave it here, because I have achieved what I wanted to achieve. Let's look at that. Also, fully clad under tray is what I added. I forgot to mention that, but I'll mention it now. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll say goodbye until another day. And don't get locked out of the garage.